Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Storytime Society. I'm so happy to have you here. I love you so much. If you're not already subscribed, press the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, like the video, maybe share with a friend that you think would like this type of video. I don't know if you love me, and comment so that we can chat in the comments. Also, grab your drink. I have a salted caramel iced latte that I already drank most of because I've been filming some content. Am I blurring? Am I blurry right now? I think I'm forever going to be paranoid by that, but um let's get into story time. Happy Wednesday morning. I hope you guys are going to have a wonderful day, or you've had a wonderful full day, or you have a wonderful morning, or you sleep really nice if you're listening to this at night. Yesterday's episode was honestly crazy. Like, I feel like so many crazy stories were read on yesterday's episode. So I don't think we're gonna top that, but we have some pretty interesting stories according to the titles. Like, I feel like they are going to be pretty juicy. I try to pick the most juicy ones, but then sometimes I'm like, sometimes you just can't. Like, sometimes there just isn't as juicy of tea on Reddit, so you just can't get the juiciest of juicy stories. But slay. I think that's really all I have to say, other than I love you guys, and we can get into the story time. I don't want to like rant too much. Sometimes I like to just calm my yapping down a little bit, because I get a little bit what's the word? I get a little bit taken away. I don't know. But sometimes I just yap too much in the beginning, and it's definitely annoying. But I love those of you that try to convince me otherwise and say that it's not annoying and that you love my yapping. Also, like, the other day I got a comment that was talking about how they wanted me to move the mic away whenever I yawned. And they included some other things like burping, which is totally understandable. I don't want to like burp. I don't think I burp into the microphone. I usually try to move the microphone away when I burp. If I don't, it just is an accident. But I'm so sorry. And I don't mean to be passive aggressive or a bitch, but I am only human. And to be honest, like, asking me to not yawn in the microphone is just a little bit crazy. Like, if you really hate me yawning into the microphone that much, because I'm tired mostly every single day, so there's probably a good chance I'm going to yawn at least once in every video. And if you don't like it, I'm so sorry. I really don't want to be a bitch, but it's just like, just don't watch then, because this is not like about trying to be perfect and overproduced, and it's just about like a fun story time, hanging out with you guys and like relaxing. And if me yawning really bothers you that much, I just don't think that you should watch, because I am probably going to yawn into the microphone for the rest of my life. And I'm so sorry about that, but I just feel like that's such a silly thing. Like, that's just like such a silly request to me. The burping and like the swallowing, I understand, can be like a little bit like the misophonia. Is that what it's called of it all? I don't know. But I understand that that can be triggering to some people. But like me yawning, I'm probably going to yawn into the microphone. I'm so sorry, but I usually yawn and talk at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like, what am I going to yawn every single time and like stop talking? Pull the microphone away? Probably not. I'm so sorry. You really don't have to watch. It's okay. I really enjoy doing these videos. So if I'm doing them for 20 people, or if I'm doing them for 20,000 people, I am just happy that at least one person is enjoying it. And I just feel like I feel like I'm going to have to become less sensitive with these comments sometimes, because they do get a little out of hand. And I just feel like one of them is asking me to not yawn into the microphone. Like, I am just a human. I'm probably going to be yawning. So sorry. And I love you so much. But I'll stop talking about yawning, because I just ranted about that for a while. And I told myself I wouldn't. I told myself I wouldn't do that. So sorry. I'm going to put in the descriptions from now on when the actual story time starts so that you guys don't have to suffer through me talking about this kind of stuff, because who wants to listen to that? Okay, anyways, our first story, let's just hop right into it. Okay, our first story is titled, My Motherly Aunt Wants Me to Give Up My Unborn Baby Girl to My Godly Infertile Cousin. This is going to be a wild ride, I can already tell. And this was written on June 18th. I, 24 female, am currently 8 months pregnant with a baby girl, and my aunt/cousin have been giving me trouble since I announced the news. Oop, there was a burp, and it came up unexpectedly, so sorry. I know burping in the microphone is not something that I want to do, but that really was not my fault. My partner and I already adore our girl and have no plans to give her up, but my aunt wants me to give up my child to my cousin, who has been suffering for infertility for the past 5 years. For more context, my aunt has raised my sister and I as a motherly figure after our mother passed away when we were very young. We have been quite close with our aunt/cousin throughout our whole lives and have been trying to support my cousin through her struggles with infertility. My aunt is also very religious, being a Mormon who regularly attends church and has a very rigid, closed-minded view on morality/values in living a good life. She believes that a child deserves a strong foundational religious upbringing with a strong providing father and a loving, attentive mother. Since my partner is not Christian and because we both have full-time jobs and careers, she believes that my child will grow up confused and misguided in our household due to our religious differences, lacking a proper sense of identity and adequate care. She says she fears that our child's well-being will not be put first in such an environment and that our kid could likely go down a dark, immoral path. According to her, my cousin, who works part-time from home, and her husband are way better able to provide my child with a loving home with good values and religion. I have both my aunt and cousin blocked on most forms of communication, and I have moved to a new home where they do not know the address. My partner and I also got married in a private ceremony, so they won't have control over my medical decisions. Out of the two, my aunt has been more aggressive towards me and even showed up to my old apartment one day to scream and argue with me about the situation. She, in a fake nice tone, tried to get me to come with her to a cafe near the church to speak with me about the baby, even when I told her there is nothing to be discussed and that I'm keeping the baby. I spoke with the apartment manager and had to hide until she left after half an hour. My aunt also has her church friends after me. They sometimes regularly send me hostile text messages and voicemails. My cousin has been on the quieter side towards me and has been struggling with depression and trauma from her latest pregnancy last year, ending in a stillbirth of her baby girl after preterm labor at 30 weeks. She has been regularly posting on social media and has joined motherhood-related groups. I've heard through gossip that she is trying to get a baby through those groups and has been banned from a considerable amount of them to her dismay. She had been harassing young moms and widows for their babies. My cousin is desperate for a baby to fix her family and is apparently waiting for me to give birth for my baby girl, who she apparently sees her own late baby in. My aunt and her are apparently sure that I will be overwhelmed with my decision and the responsibilities with motherhood, that I will give up/give more to my baby by letting my cousin and her husband adopt her. My aunt says that giving my baby to my cousin shouldn't be as hard as it is because we are family and that I could have a baby later on as I am still young and have plans to attend grad school after working for a while. My cousin also apparently wants to get in contact as we had before pregnancy. I will not be speaking to her again until after I give birth to see where she is then and to prevent further stress during my pregnancy. I have been very supportive of her through her infertility journey and generally liked her more than my aunt growing up, but her behavior and thinking have shocked me and are making me fear for my safety. I am planning a big wedding party for next year since my partner and I privately got married this year, and I am not sure if my cousin and aunt would be invited and able to come. I have a lot of family support from both sides right now, apart from those who are close to them and on their side, but I'm not sure if that support will be as strong in a year and what my relationship with my aunt and cousin will be then. I have skipped some family events that I know they will be at, but I don't want to miss out on all those family gatherings and fun forever. I'm not sure how the future will look with my aunt and cousin after my baby and the issues that arise with that. Any support would be appreciated. Okay, some relevant comments. That's your baby and your baby alone. Get law enforcement involved if you have to. Get restraining orders if you have to. If you ever do talk to your aunt and cousin again, remind them how there are plenty of other babies in your area that are waiting to be adopted. Best of luck and congratulations. OP said, thanks. Regarding adoption, I don't think my cousin would be a great adoptive mother, so I would rather not encourage her on that. Based on what I know, she only wants a baby girl right now, and the baby has to be like her, aka white and have whiter features, and must not have any issues. She does not want to deal with or involve the birth mother and pretty much wants to act like the adoption never happened. Her mentality tells me she is only adopting for selfish reasons and does not want to make the adoption the beautiful thing it can be for everyone involved. Although I am not giving her my baby, I am hypothetically concerned of how she would treat me and try to alienate me from any relationship with the child if I were in that position. And then okay, some more comments. Please, whatever you do, do not allow your aunt or cousin to be anywhere near your child. Don't allow them to hold your child. Do not ever allow them to babysit your child because your child will disappear. If at all possible in the future, maybe consider moving out of that city. Make sure that you have cameras set up around your house. Even if they don't know where you live now, there's always a chance that they could follow you home from work. Be hyper vigilant. Congratulations on the soon-to-be birth of your little one. And then OP responded back, my partner and I have moved out of the city and into a new home recently. My aunt and cousin have become aware of this, but don't know the address. I didn't think much of being followed home from work, but since they don't know where I live anymore, they may try something at my workplace. I'll have to talk about this more with my coworkers and boss and alert them sternly. And then OP also said, I was raised Mormon, and my aunt has always been pushing the religion and all its components on me and my sister. Now we are both not very religious and do not regularly attend church. I still believe in Jesus, but I'm definitely not near what my aunt is and wants me to be in religion. She says she is disappointed with me on that and is using my lack of devotion to say that my baby will be even worse off than me and go down the wrong path if I'm like this with a Mormon upbringing. Oh, Lord. Okay. Okay, so update June 21st. This will be a small update. We got in contact with the local church leader and talked to them about the situation with my aunt and cousin, who are both active members. We talked to him for a while. He initially dismissed my concerns as personal conflict between family and tried to refer us over to counseling services. We explained to him that my cousin is dealing with trauma from her baby's death and that she's having false hopes about adopting my baby, which would be raised in a good home. We also told him that my aunt is feeding into those hopes and has been harassing me on her behalf, causing disturbance and a lot of stress. He told me he understood my side and that he knew what my cousin has been going through with her inability to have kids. He said he would contact my aunt and cousin to see what they have to say about the situation. I talked again with him today. He said that my aunt and cousin would like to speak with me and that they were concerned that I stopped communicating with them, especially since I moved away. I explained to him that their behavior regarding my baby influenced me to do those things and pressed him on what they said. He said that my cousin had talked with a church therapist and was looking into adoption to start a family because her IVF treatments were likely not going to produce a child with her condition. I emphasized to him that I was not giving up my baby and that my cousin had been thinking such. He said that he understood that and started asking me for personal details on how I was doing now. He was again trying to set up a meeting between us and my aunt and cousin and referring us to services. I told him I was not comfortable with that at the moment, and he told me to at least call my cousin once. He said he will meet with my aunt on Sunday since I was too scared to do so on my own, and our call ended after that. I'll comment any update on what he says in the coming days under this post. Edit, I am not satisfied with his response and do not like that he is putting pressure on me to reconnect with my aunt and cousin. He says he understands my concerns, but I think he is being rather dismissive of them and trying to force us to resolve our issues. My partner and I thought it was worth a shot reaching out to him because he has influence and religious authority over my aunt and cousin. I'll see what he says on the next phone call and see what I can do to make him care more. To make it clear, I didn't give him any personal information and have no plans for any in-person meeting with my aunt and cousin. We are in contact with legal help. We do not live in Utah. Okay, some relative comments. OP on the church leader not believing her and how he is helping her and her husband. She said that may be why he is trying to refer us over to church counseling. He says he will talk to my aunt and I will just play along and see what he/they say after that. After this, I am not sure how helpful involving the stake president will be and if I want to pursue that. Our church leadership has a reputation on focusing on what benefits them and often pivot to that even if they initially side with you and try to help. My aunt and cousin are rather wealthy, so their tithe is probably worth enough for him to firmly favor them. 100% a trap. Someone commented, 100% a trap. Yikes. Plus, the way the church leader dismissed OP as being too scared was extremely condescending and manipulative. What a scummy way for him to pave. F that guy. And she commented and said, that comment really upset me. After I told him everything that was going on and my fears, I'm not just too scared. I fear for the safety and well-being of my family. I fear for the possible escalations, my cousins and aunts' expectations and actions, and more. These fears are real and are very valid given the circumstances that really bothered me. And then someone commented back, why are you even risking it? He will get your address and then pass it on to your aunt. They may try to follow you back home after that meeting to know where you live. Possibly find out other details too, like your hospital address from the church leader, and they can get there with the excuse of checking on you and your baby. I've heard of real cases where they took the newborn baby to another state from the hospital itself. It will be harder for the police to track them down. Please don't associate with them any longer. Not the church and not your aunt and cousin either. Don't risk your baby being kidnapped. You're the only one who will suffer at the end. Trust me, the church won't be able to help you if things go wrong. If it's possible, move somewhere as far as you can for the sake of your baby's safety. And she commented and said, we talked to him over the phone and have no plans right now for any in-person meetings. I don't get why she's even talking to this guy on the phone. He seems like he's not going to do anything good for them. And it seems like he's definitely just, he's like taking the aunt and cousin's side. And he probably thinks the same. He's probably like, oh yeah, you should give your baby to them because they will raise them as like religious, and I don't know. I just feel like it's just creepy, and I definitely think that with I don't think, why are you talking to someone that's connected to your aunt and cousin in any way possible, especially because you're not even religious. You said you don't even attend that church anymore. So I would just completely cut off anyone that has anything to do with these crazy ass people. Like, this aunt, she just wants her kid to have a baby. She's making all these excuses because her kid can't have a baby, and she's trying to get you. This is like the craziest situation I've ever heard. That's actually insane. Because technically, this is like her motherly figure. This is like her mom technically, and this is technically her sister. So that'd be like if your mom was trying to force you to give your baby to your sister. That's just absolutely crazy. Like, sorry that you're dealing with infertility. That is so hard, I'm sure, but that does not mean that you have any right to take someone else's baby away from them. And if you really want to be a good religious person, go adopt a baby that is in need, because there are so many babies in the foster care system that need to be adopted. But obviously, all you care about is the fact that this baby is white and has no issues and kind of looks like you. So, and is a girl. Like, okay, what are you? Freaking dictator? Like, that, I mean, you're kind of crazy and you are kind of scary, and you honestly, in this mental state, shouldn't even have a child. You shouldn't even adopt a child, because it seems like you maybe should go to the hospital and get tested for some type of mental something. I don't know, but you need to be in a care of a doctor or something. I don't know, because you I don't know, it just feels like maybe she's struggling with, like, since, I don't know, I forget how long ago she had that, like, stillborn baby, but maybe she's struggling with what is it? Ugh. Frick. Post. What is it called? Oh my God. Of course I forget. And I literally know I know what it's called, but of course I forget. Post-birth, like, psychosis. I know that's not what it's called, but I can't remember the exact term for it right now because I'm actually going blank. But I don't know. Maybe she's struggling with that. I don't know. I want to give her, like, grace, but she needs to get help is what she needs to do, and not from the church. That is, like, it's just honestly scary that some religious people believe that they have, like, they deserve something more than people that aren't religious or have a different religion than them. That bothers me so much. I was raised Christian. I believe in Jesus, like, I believe in God, and I I've literally been Christian since I was in the womb. Like, my mom would take me to church and have people pray over me and in her tummy and stuff. Like, I've been going to church since I was a tiny little newborn baby. I've gotten baptized when I was like 19 or 20. I was, I did all the Christian things, and I went to youth group and stuff. And I know, like, not every Christian is like this, but once I went to college at a Christian university, it really was so hard. Like, it honestly makes me emotional because I've always had a relationship with Jesus, and I truly believe, like, I have a personal relationship, and I've grown up in and around everyone. Like, my mom is very religious, and my grandparents are very religious. Like, most of everyone in my family is pretty religious. So I've grown up in that, but, like, not in the way that when I went to a Christian university for college, the way that it felt so icky and judgmental. And I'm just like, I've always been I've always been out there. Like, I've always been kind of crazy. Like, I didn't have much authority when I was younger and growing up. So, like, I drank the first time when I was literally like 13 years old. I partied a lot in high school. I partied a lot in college. I just did all the normal, like, teenage things that, I just had fun. And the way that you were judged if you literally had kissed a boy before marriage, if you weren't, like, the most perfect Christian woman, all, like, the Christian leaders and, like, the RAs and stuff would look at you like you needed to be rehabilitated. Like, oh my God, I feel so bad for her. Like, she needs to be saved. And it really turned me off. It was honestly super hard. Like, I struggled a lot with just completely, I don't really even like to consider myself Christian, to be honest, and I'm so sorry. I don't want to offend anyone about any religion. Like, I truly am so accepting of every religion and no religion, and whatever you believe is what you believe, and everyone has different experiences throughout their life that bring them to who they are and what they believe, and that is totally okay. It is so silly to think that every single person is going to believe the same thing as you, and also to think that your religion, like, rules everything. I just don't believe that. And I always had a hard time with, like, if this person is a different religion, like, oh, this Jewish person or this, like, Muslim person, or like religions that aren't really based around Jesus. And when I was in college, it'd be like, you need to save those people. You need to like try to get them to find Jesus. When it's so condescending and just crazy to me, because why would I try to save someone from their religion? I'm not God. Like, I don't know what's actually real. No one knows. So if someone wants to believe and someone else has a different religion than me, who am I to say that my religion is the end all be all and their religion isn't? Like, they're all pretty relative. Obviously, there's differences in every single religion, but I just think the main thing, like, we're all different. We're all different humans. If you don't believe in anything, if you think that life ends once you die and you become nothing and it just turns black, so be it. You have all the right to believe that. Who am I to say that you're wrong about that? Because I've never died. I don't know I don't know what it is to die. I'm not an expert on dying. So I just feel like it's so annoying when religions act so holier than thou and they're like, oh, you've done that? God doesn't love you. Jesus doesn't love you if you've done that. Because pretty sure the whole point of Jesus is the fact that he wouldn't want you like to judge other people, and it's not our place to judge other people for anything. And that goes without saying. Like, every single thing in life, you should not be judging other people for what they do. I mean, of course, unless they're like a murderer or like a serial killer, things like that. Obviously, I'm judging you. But if you're judging someone for something like their own personal beliefs and saying like you don't deserve your own child that you are growing in your stomach because you're not as religious as me is insane. And like, this is honestly bringing up, like, this is triggering me because college was just so like, it was honestly hard because I didn't connect with a lot of people in college because of this reason, and just because of the whole religious aspect. And like, not everyone, I'm not going to say everyone, a lot of people acted so holier than thou. And when I was in college, I wanted to party. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to drink on the weekends. I wanted to go crazy. Like, sorry. That's my own personal decision, and you should not judge me for that. But they did. They judged you a lot. If I was even like hugging my boyfriend, people would be like, oof. Like, it was just bad, and I just did not enjoy it at all. Okay, anyways, after that rant, this is obviously this is obviously very personal to me because it's bothering me so much, and I just can't stand that. And it just really bothers me when people are use their religion as like a weapon almost, and they're so judgmental or not accepting of people and their own life choices. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Okay, update June 28th. We spoke again with the bishop. He said that there isn't much he can personally do to resolve the situation within his capacity between me and my aunt and cousin, other than refer to counseling services. I asked him if he did meet with my aunt, and he said he did. Their conversation was apparently focused on my cousin and helping her heal. He told me my cousin was also grieving the loss of communication with me and my sister, who hasn't been talking to her much either. I told him that my cousin was trying to take my baby to replace hers, and that her and my aunt's behavior was threatening the safety and well-being of me and my family. I think he was losing interest in the conversation, so he just told me to do whatever I feel is best for my family, but to consider the grief my cousin has been through and contact family counseling services for further help on this matter. Me and my partner sent him an email afterwards with a copy to our lawyer to close off communication. I decided to unblock my cousin and send her a message. I told her that my partner and I are keeping our baby and that is not up for discussion. I encouraged her to seek proper therapy if she hasn't already done so, and told her that I am not comfortable with her husband, or my aunt being involved in my child's life. She hasn't responded yet. Regardless of what she says, our relationship will not return to as it was before, and she will not be a part of my child's life. Honestly, you don't even need to unblock her and tell her that, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to read some of the top comments. Infuriating how everyone involved is happy to steal from the OP to give it to the crazy person. She can't trust anyone. If she goes to family gatherings, if some uncle or niece holds the baby, they will 100% give her to crazy aunt and cousin, and the baby will be gone. She needs to stay the F away from that whole side. Get the police involved and get one of those air tags in the baby's car seat. Right? I read it kind of like, oh wait, no. They're talking about Bruce Wayne, like they're getting so off topic. I really hope to get cameras around their house too. They seemed to feel safer because they've moved, but they won't stop. I highly doubt any adoption agency is going to allow the cousin to adopt with that level of trauma, especially when she's been banned from a lot of motherhood groups for trying to get other people to give over their babies. I hope someone somewhere is able to get her some solid therapy. Anyone would need that after a 30-week stillbirth. But my God, no lady, random people, whether family or not, aren't just going to give you their babies. Yeah, for real. Like, what? It's insane, the entitlement. Like, I deserve your baby. Give me your baby now, because that should be my baby. And the whole part where she's like, I see my late baby in your baby. What do you mean? You've never even seen the baby. The baby is not born. The baby is literally still in the belly. What are you saying? Are you saying that you can see in the future? Are you saying that you're like a medium? Like, I don't understand. There's an expression, fully a doe, I don't know if that's how you say it, which is loosely interpreted as two people slowly driving each other crazier and crazier because they believe in outrageous idea. At this point, these two women could talk themselves into kidnapping and murdering the OP. They are probably mentally ill enough to be hospitalized. This expression means no sunlight can get in to allow clarity of thought, so the craziness gets worse. Actually, folie à dos is a psychological disease where one person with showing symptoms of psychological disease being close to another person kind of transfers their symptoms to the person without the disease. Like someone who'd be very close to someone with schizophrenia could also get hallucinations. I'm a psychology student, not yet a professional, and just because you have a family slash friend with a psychological disease does not mean everyone surrounding them has a folie à dos. I wish I knew how to pronounce that. And it can also happen with two people who have delusions independently of each other, but they each influence the other's delusions. My sister was kidnapped by her grandma when she was younger. Her dad didn't have a spine and just let her take her. My mom got her back, but yikes. I hope OP's husband has a spine of steel, because that's a lot of pressure. In my experience in an extremist religious cult as a child, the crazier someone is, the more it is seen as visions from God and holiness, which is how the cult decided they can sacrifice me and bring on the end of days. Apparently, my resilience, despite their efforts, didn't read as their deity, is that the word? As their deity going, no, but try harder suffering is delicious. So sorry to hear that. I hope you escaped in one piece. I mean, all the pieces are here, but I wasn't unscathed. Therapy and medicine are wonderful things. I would rather be scarred and safe than dead. Those are the two options. Safe is such a wonderful experience. It's still new enough that it doesn't feel normal yet, but it doesn't feel like it's unsafe anymore. Fun with abuse. It lies about safety. I look forward to life, which is also still new and incredibly wonderful. Wait, what? They try to sacrifice you, as in put you on an altar and kill you? I actually kind of want to know what this is. That's their goal, but it has evolved to me dying at all. I learned that when I was putting the pieces of the time I was shot... What? I learned that when I was putting the pieces of the time I was shot in the face together, I refused to return and was shot and left to die. Instead of coming, the cops. I'm sorry, this is crazily written. I'm just going to read it as it's written, and hopefully it's understandable. Instead of coming, the cops and ambulance just ignored the call. A homeless veteran who was a combat medic saved me. I spent a year to the day in a catatonic state. I remember nothing, but in similar states, when not safe, I put people into comas and seriously injured others. The only thing I did that proved somewhere in there I was actually not brain dead and just existing as a body was when the kids in the encampment demanded a story, I told them stories. While not the only time I have been shot or stabbed, that was the second brain injury and it destroyed my life in so many ways. I didn't remember being shot at all, and I didn't know who did it since I forgot going no contact. I went to visit with my service animal. They kidnapped me and my mother admitted she ordered the hit. I escaped. There is not enough evidence to charge anyone. It's been a long time, so that is forever, unless the trigger person confessed. Mother has a lot of people in jail on her behalf without consequences. She even faked her death once to try and make me feel sad so I would return. She never imagined I would be happy and relieved. So yeah, they will settle for any death, but really want their ritual. The good news is that when I went to the authorities about this, they believed me and helped me. The bad news is that the ineptitude of the local police cost me everything. I had to rebuild my life. The good news there, I have a chosen family that is so freaking amazing. I also am not where my family can find me. I actually prefer biological terrorists, but people need the explanation first. I have survived a lot of attempts on my life. The scars aren't visible most of the time because I have the best plastic surgeons for reconstruction. I talk more about the first reconstructive surgery I had because it was worse. For the shooting, they only had to fix some facial bones and do a small skin graft. So most of my face is scar tissue. My glasses also hide the scar from this, and it's theorized they saved my life as much as the veteran did. I lost contact with the camp with the pandemic, and it's not safe to go looking, but I asked them about naming names and was asked to skip, hence no details like that too. Sorry, I don't understand. The scars used to upset me, but now they are proof I survived, so I don't mind when they show. This is where therapy came in. I have complex PTSD because safe is a new concept to my life, but if someone's reading this who is debating leaving, you're in constant danger until you do. Yes, leaving means abusers tend to get violent, but staying, they'll be violent anyway. I decided to be polite once with threats in my life, and that is when I was most hurt. So don't be polite and go out to talk to someone so that it's not seen. Make noise, be seen. Whoa, that is the craziest story I've ever heard. Someone commented and said, did you grow up in the Order of Nine Angles? Is that a cult? Sorry, I'm getting so sucked into this, but I have to know. No, my parents got kicked out of several cults before making their own. The Moonies, Westboro Baptists, and a few others. So it's not shocking to me they copied some homework. They also got kicked out of the... Okay, I'm not going to say the full thing. For being too racist. That's actually insane. That sounds crazy. Wow. That's like, this person should write a book or make a movie or something, because although I could not really read a lot of the stuff that they wrote, I think I get the gist of it, and that is so sad and scary. I can only imagine how, like, what? That's so traumatizing. I'm honestly pretty intrigued by, like, people who have escaped cults, because that is, first of all, extremely brave, and I can't even imagine, like, if I was born in a cult, I don't think I would ever be able to get out. I feel like I just would be so, I'd just be too scared. Like, I'd be, like, literally trapped forever because I'm just a baby. So the fact that people, like, survive things like that and are resilient enough to be living a normal life is insane. I'd be crumbling is what I'd be doing. And I'd probably be crazy. Like, I'd be probably psychologically insane. I don't even know if I would probably die from being so like stressed all the time, because I'm already stressed in my normal life, and I was not raised in a cult. Okay, sorry. That was long, but had to do it. So, all right, let's read this story. I think this is a long one. I hate how my rash is like healing so weirdly, and I've been picking at it, and I need to stop. Sorry. Oh my god. The lighting is kind of weird right now because the window. Oh, I almost just threw up. Okay, the next story is, I accidentally found out my husband's 2 sisters are secretly fathered by his uncle, and none of them know. What do I do? Yeah, this is a long... Oh, no, it's not that long, honestly. Okay. I, 25 female, accidentally found out my husband's 25 male, 2 sisters, 18 and 26, are both secretly fathered by his uncle, and none of them know. My husband and I have been together 9 years and married for 6. It started with my husband getting a vasectomy after our second child was born a few months ago. We were all sitting around drinking one weekend while my husband and his dad talked about what it was like and procedure and recovery and stuff. At some point later in the night, my father-in-law and I ended up alone outside to smoke, and we drunkenly continued talking and joking about my husband's upcoming appointment. He said something along the lines of, well, when I got mine done, granted it was almost 25 years ago, he kept talking, but for some reason it stuck out in my head. He had always said it was a few years after his youngest was born, so I said, you mean 15 years? I don't know how to describe it, but I saw a flash of change in his face, like he said something he wasn't supposed to. Maybe just a gut feeling, I don't know how, but something about the situation I could tell wasn't right. He tried to fix and change it back to 15, but he could tell I knew something was off. He told me we need to go inside, people are waiting, but I was hesitant, so he told me he would leave work early the next day so that we could talk in private. My heart dropped, and I knew what that meant. All night, I stayed up trying to convince myself that's not possible or true. Maybe I misread the situation since we didn't really say much. It was mostly in unspoken looks. His youngest daughter looks so much like him. All 3 of the siblings look alike and look like their dad, so there's no way she's not his, right? He came over the next day, like he said, and we sat in his car and talked for a long time. Here's what he told me. Before they started dating, his wife was really good friends with his brother. They were all good friends and all stayed friends after father-in-law and mother-in-law started dating. Turns out she was secretly sleeping with both of them and ended up pregnant at 18 years old. She told my father-in-law that she believed his brother was the father of her baby, later confirmed with DNA, but he loved her, and because they were young and religious, they got married anyway. The family all knew and supported them, and she cut things off with his brother. They decided to have a baby together a year later, my husband, who is biologically my father-in-law's, and he had a vasectomy immediately after. Life was great for 6 more years until his brother called him and told him things were really bad with him and he desperately needed help getting a job and back on his feet. Not having any animosity towards him, he agreed and got him a job working with him and let him move in with them while he got back on his feet. He started noticing his brother calling out of work a lot and taking long lunches or leaving early to the point his job told my father-in-law he's about to be fired. My father-in-law knew he was at home on lunch, so he drove home to confront him and tell him to get back to work before he loses his job, but when he walked in, he caught his wife and brother in the act. He said he completely lost it. He was doing something to help him, and he repays him by not showing up to work because he's having sex with his wife while the kids were in the other room. He kicked his brother out. Obviously, him and his wife had a big blow-up fight about it because all trust was broken, but ultimately, he said it was yet again something he just wanted to get through. That was until a couple weeks later when she calls him at work, something she would never normally do, and says he needs to get home right now because she just found out she was pregnant. He raced home. They confirmed it was true. She cried to him and told him she was in love with his brother. He said the only thing he could do was grab the kids and leave to not physically do anything to either of them. His brother ran to their dad's house and she went to her sister's where they stayed separate for a couple months. She eventually told him she loves them both, but wants the life and family they have to stay and for them to work through it like they had last time. He thought on it and decided he couldn't leave the kids he had raised for 6 to 7 years in the house he had bought, and he knew his brother would never step up for this baby as he hadn't stepped up for the other three he already had with his ex-wife. They cut off everyone on that side of the family. Still to this day, they don't talk, and decided to raise this baby as theirs. 2 years later, the brother had become an addict and an alcoholic and was arrested for CSA after he was found abusing one of his daughter's friends. There was multiple occasions and multiple charges. At that point, they decided together that they would never let any of the kids know their biological dad was actually who they thought was their uncle, and they've kept that secret for 26 years, at least until me. I asked a bunch of questions, and he was very open with me on everything. He asked me if my husband has ever said anything that might suggest he knows, and I told him he hadn't, and he said he's had small slips before and just no one caught it. His brother has not tried reaching out the entire 18 years since then and has no interest in even meeting them. I've tried some slight probing with my husband to see if he knows anything at all, such as asking him about his uncle and why they don't talk anymore, and if he has any memories of him, and he doesn't. In his mind, he's never met his uncle because he's a P word and an addict. He has no memory of him even living with them for a few months, even though he was 6 years old. I've held on to the secret for close to 6 months now, but it eats me alive all of the time. It feels dirty to hold on to this secret from my husband, like a lie, but I'm torn because my husband has never really been through anything traumatic, so I don't know how he would handle this information. His childhood, from his perspective, was the most normal, healthy childhood you could have, and he really looks up to his family. To him, they are ideal. What if I ruin that view for him? It feels like it's not my secret to tell, and I don't want to ruin his perception of his life. It feels like if I told him, it would only be to get this off my chest. What good could come from him knowing? It wouldn't change anything for him, and he is his dad's biological child. It feels like telling him would be a selfish act, but at the same time, it feels horribly wrong to know something so big and keep that from him. And I'm supposed to keep that secret forever? I don't know how I could do it. I don't know how I could do that if 6 months of keeping it is hard. Please please help me or give me advice if you've been in a similar situation or on the other side of it. I feel very alone. Also, to know I am very close with both sister-in-laws, and while it's hard with them too, it's just simply not my place to tell them. I know it's wrong for them not to know truly who they are, and I fully see the problems with it, but I know how both of them are mentally, and know that them finding out would do significantly more damage than help. So, while I understand any comment to tell them, or that they deserve to know, that's the only thing I'm set on not doing. Edit. People seem to have a very strong opinion in both ways. Please be respectful that this is my real family in real life with people I truly care about. I'm weighing in all the comments, and I'll update when I make my final decision. Thank you all for the feedback, and thank you to everyone who's being kind and understanding. War. I'm not sure, some of the top comments, I'm not sure I'd involve myself anymore. Nothing good comes from this. It's one of those let sleeping dogs lay unless they need some family medical history. Side note, your mother-in-law, oof, those are choices to have to live with. And OP commented, there has been a few instances where medical history was needed. When I asked him about it, he says he didn't think it would be an issue because they're brothers, so it's the same family. No, there hasn't been anything where anyone needs to know this. Go see a therapist or EMDR specialist if you are having intrusive thoughts about this. Your idea to say anything is so ugly. Do not do it. Don't shatter these women. See a professional because you have deep issues if you need to let anyone know their real father is a conman child rapist. See a professional. You have issues if you think this is your business. What? Jesus. They don't need to be so crazy. And she's not talking about telling the sisters. She's talking about telling her husband, who I would also want to tell. Ow. Okay. You do not have issues if you think it is your business. You feel loyal and attached to your husband and icky about keeping secrets from him. That is very healthy. Your father-in-law should have never told you. He burdened you with something that could seriously damage your marriage because your husband will feel betrayed by you if it comes out, which it will. Father-in-law is a liability. If you love them, you would not feel conflicted in the slightest. Okay, this person needs to chill. See a professional and not a professional shit stirrer. In your defense, your father-in-law should not have told you. I'm sorry he put this burden on your shoulders, and now your job is to forget everything. Okay, I don't think it's that easy. You don't know something that isn't any of your business whatsoever, so it's not lying. I don't think that this person should be giving advice, honestly. They're they're stressing me out. Like, please calm down, because it's not that easy of a decision. Like, I mean, I know that obviously it's going to be really hard for her to like make that decision, but I think all in all, like, I don't know. It's her decision, obviously. It's definitely going to open a lot of not, I don't know. I don't even know what to say, because I've never been in this situation. So it's not like I can truly like say that what is right or what is wrong. Oh my god, my boobs are like fully out in this. I'm so sorry, guys. So sorry. I don't know. I feel conflicted, honestly, because putting myself in that position, I do really think that I would tell my husband. Like, I tell my boyfriend everything. So I feel like if I figured something out so crazy like that, I would not be able to keep it in. And call me selfish, and I know that would be so hard on my boyfriend. Oof, that's so hard to say. I don't know. There's no way I could keep that in forever, though, because I'm so open with my boyfriend that there's no way I could keep that in forever. Oh, mother-in-law is a POS. What a crappy woman. I just want to hug father-in-law. He must have been absolutely drowning in his betrayal and all the lies. On top of all that heartache, his fear of them knowing the truth and how they will react, whether they will cut him off and hate the mother, fear of their anger and resentment. He has loved those children so much to put aside his hurt to give them a good life. Such a dedicated, amazing man. I am actually relieved he told you, because he has had no one. Perhaps this is an opportunity for you to encourage him to come clean. This is not your secret to tell. This needs to come from the parents, but at the same time, it cannot continue to be hidden from your husband. He will be devastated when he finds out you have kept this from him. I encourage you to put your energy into getting the father-in-law to come clean. Perhaps he needs to see a therapist and find a way to tell the truth. That's true. That's actually really great. I feel like advice is to just try to talk the father-in-law into telling the husband, because at the end of the day, that is his kid. Like, it's not like he's gonna tell him like, oh, I'm not your actual father. That problem is when they have to tell the two sisters, because that's gonna be really hard on them. But yeah, I feel like that's probably the best thing to do, is probably to have like a super deep talk with your father-in-law and be like, I cannot keep the secret. Like, it is weighing on me heavy. This is 25 years or whatever, around there, I think, of this secret, and like, he must be hurting too, trying to keep that secret from his kids. And he's obviously taken on the role of a father to these kids, so I don't think that they would see him as any less, but obviously it would be like something that they would have to be working through. And I'm not really sure. She said that one of the sisters really struggles with mental health, I think, so obviously that is like a whole different scenario. But I don't know, but you can't live your whole life not knowing the truth about who you are, right? Like, although this man is not a good man, it's not about that. It's more about not knowing and being lied to for your whole life about who your father really is. And like, I just feel like I would want to know. But it's been such a long time of them keeping that secret. It's going to be so hard to let that secret out. Like, they're in very deep with that secret, to be honest. I don't know even what to say about that. That's like so hard because I can't give a definite answer on that because I can only imagine how hard that would be, and like I'd be going back and forth so much in my head about what to do if that were me and if I were put in that situation. It's just not as easy as, no, don't tell him. That is not your business. Like, I understand that it's not her business, but it is now because he put that on her, and now she has to live with that. And knowing that her own husband doesn't even know this about his family. So that must be so hard to deal with. And I just feel like the answer is not black and white. Like, it's just not that easy to say yes or no. Like, you're going to do this or you're going to do that. Like, I just think she starts with talking to the father-in-law and then goes from there and sees what happens. And she said she was going to therapy, which is really good. But yeah, I feel like that's just something that she definitely needs to work through in therapy and see, like, how she feels for longer. I don't know, because after like keeping it for so long, it's going to be like, you're going to feel in so deep, like, oh, I've known this for 2 years. And then like, if you tell your husband, then he's going to be like, you've known this for 2 years and you didn't tell me. Because I know I would want my boyfriend to tell me. But then again, I didn't have like the most perfect childhood growing up like she says that he did. So it wouldn't really be all that crazy to me. Like, it would be crazy. That's crazy. Okay. But I don't have this like rose-colored glasses perception of, I don't get me wrong, my childhood was amazing and I love my whole family, but crazy things happened in my family. So it wouldn't be that like I'd be like, oh, yep, gotta go back to therapy. But on his end, he thinks of his family as the most perfect, like, modern family, could do no wrong, nothing bad happened. So that will definitely be a lot to work through, figuring out that your family actually wasn't the perfect, picture perfect family that you thought. I hate this lighting. I should have put the freaking shade down because I hate when it gets like this and then the sun is getting in my eyes and it's bright in places that it shouldn't be bright in. And I'm sorry that you guys had to look at my boobs the whole time, because this shirt is just like, I love this shirt, but at the same time, like, it just doesn't, I have the tiniest boobs and it doesn't keep them in like it should. It makes them look like they're so much larger and in charger than they really are. Okay, what time is it? Oh, I have to make some rice for dinner because I made some chicken and there's nothing really else to eat with it other than like rice and broccoli. So I'm gonna go and I'll see you guys on Friday morning. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope I didn't get like too crazy just because of my, my personal opinions with religion have changed a lot since I've grown up and had experiences. And I don't want anyone to feel like judged by me. Like, if you're super religious or if you I don't know. I just don't want anyone to feel like they're not accepted by me, because truly I accept everyone. And I think that whatever makes you happy, as long as it's not something that's hurting other people, then it makes you happy. And I am happy about that. You know what I mean? I'm very open-minded, and I wasn't growing up because that's how I was raised. I was raised in a very religious family. Well, not very religious family, but there's definitely like my grandparents and stuff. I was with my grandparents a lot. Both sides are super religious, and they watched me a lot. So I was definitely like, a lot of things were instilled in my brain that I now no longer believe. And my boyfriend's FaceTiming me. But I love you guys, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a comment. Love you.